All right, how we doing, everybody? It is season 2, episode 18 of the Yellow Card Podcast, presented to you and brought to you by our good team over at studentunionsports.com. Make sure you check out all the content coming out daily from a bunch of college writers entering the journalist scenery these day and age. Independent sourcing, all written by their opinions and their expertise in the matter. Again, make sure you check out studentunionsports.com. Shout out to Liam Smith for having us, being a gentleman and a half. And I mean, overall, he's just a friggin' legend, but that's just besides the point. This is a rough episode of film. And I'm not even sure that I'm in the right state of mind still, considering half the bullshit I went through last night. So I'm going to let Jones take the lead on today, because I know he is ecstatic, happy. I don't even know what other words to describe his energy today. But for me personally, it's a little bit of a cumbersome episode to be filming today. So without further ado, Mr. Jones, happy Monday. It is Monday, March 6th, about 7:15 in the evening here in Boston. We're filming episode 18. Your team is coming off of probably their greatest win so far the whole entire season, if not more. How are you feeling? It would be nice if you care about my ears, considering that I'm a DJ, bro. Like that was at a peak level.
Just let it play. Such a great feeling. Such a great feeling. I won't put you through the whole song, but it's a great feeling.
I'll let you have it. It's your moment. Go for it. Just go for it.
We last episode. Hold on. There was a clip from last episode that was very, very good.
They should very well understand as to why.
Oh. Excuse me. Sorry.
Goal scorers in the league. Ivan Toney tied for
Nope.
14.
Wrong part.
Yeah.
This is very unprofessional by me, by the way.
Did not enforce Everton on Sunday.
This is horrendous.
So with that said,
It describes the season up to now for Liverpool. It's been horrendous.
Yeah. No, correct.
anything, I'm going to go with Liverpool shocking the world and beating United 1-0.
Liverpool shocking the world. That was the quote from last week. And Liverpool shocked the world on Sunday.
Which, by the way, before you start giving yourself this massive bouquet of flowers that you can't even afford because the money's not in your checking account currently. I'm sorry. But before you even proceed with this nonsense, if it wasn't for me reminding you that you said those words, which means that I came from a very humble place of loss and humbleness, reminding you, hey man, you said these words during last week's episode. You may want to put that out there. You wouldn't even be saying that right now. So just a gentle reminder. That's all.
Taste that? A little saltiness to it.
No saltiness, brother. Actually, if anything, as tasteless as anything else. I'm just saying, you're gloating about your victory, which you should. I mean, it was a great beatdown. But I'm just saying, you wouldn't even be saying half these words that you are saying right now if it wasn't, formulated by yours truly.
It was the worst loss in Manchester United history of being in the Premier League.
It was the worst loss in Manchester United history. It's the worst loss that Erik ten Hag has ever dealt with. It's the worst loss that about 7 out of the starting 11 ever dealt with, because neither Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Valverde, Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, David De Gea, ever dealt with. And these are people that, have participated in the World Cup to a certain level. Some of them are World Cup winners as well, by the way. So I'm just saying, like, that was a great beatdown. I'll let you carry on because I got my opinions about it, but I'm gonna
nothing was more satisfying. I cashed in. Finally, Diego and I had a bet last year about a dinner.
I knew that was coming because the
I
second that you said I got the check, I was
not only did I pay for Diego, I paid for a +1 of his. So cross that off the list. Food and drinks. Correct.
Am I denying anything? No. So carry on.
Just putting it out here. There was no better feeling.
By the way, plus an additional one as well.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. I'm focused on you and your +1.
Oh, okay. So you want? Oh, okay. All right. Just know that you signed yourself up for this. Don't get frustrated with me halfway through the episode. Because you signed yourself up for this. Okay.
I'm not getting frustrated at all because I finally feel like I have this weight lifted off my shoulder when it comes to this dinner bet that we made. So we'll take that. Let's just say at one point we were sitting down and you said, and I quote, I'm really glad that Manchester United did not get these two guys that are currently playing for Liverpool, and Darwin Nunez and Cody Gakpo, and they scored a brace apiece. Man, it was so bittersweet. And at the place we were at, I would say it was 60-40 Manchester United fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean
60-40.
Number one, it wasn't even half the amount of people we thought for sure would come out, which was a little concerning.
Upstairs was more. There was more upstairs.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So if we were upstairs, I think it would have been even crazier, to be honest with you. Okay. But secondly, in the first half, we were like, this is a sloppy game by both sides. Both teams did not play their best. Gakpo gets the first goal in the first half. Liverpool goes up 1. Diego looks at me and goes, it's all right. We're second half team. And boy, in that second half, did you guys not show up. It was probably the most embarrassing performance I saw by a group of 11 men in a very, 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 very long time. Honestly, that's probably the most embarrassing performance I watched by a team on the football field since Brazil lost in their home country the way that they did in the 2014 World Cup. That's how bad Manchester United looked yesterday. It was abysmal. One of the only things that United did is it basically helped Liverpool bolster their chance of finishing in the top 4. They got the goal differential up. They're 3 points back of Tottenham for 4th with a game in hand. There's plenty of different avenues that Liverpool can go that'll help them in the long run here. And Manchester United will be a huge reason why I thank them towards the end of the season when we finish in the top 4. That starting 11 yesterday needs to start every single game. Having Harvey Elliott in the starting lineup, listen, he wasn't over the top, like he wasn't the best player on the pitch, but he was making an impact. Something that Bajcetic hasn't done for them at all. Gakpo, Nunez, and Salah are finally getting the chemistry down together. The defense was good. Van Dijk played well. Konate played well. Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. I mean, Robertson had a absolute beautiful passes up the first Cody Gakpo goal. But they were very much so in the game. Alisson scared me a little bit. If United was on just a little bit yesterday, because of Alisson's mistakes, it could have been 7-2. They could have scored
more than that.
They could have scored 2 to 3 goals yesterday. So do what you will with that. However, I think this is good for Liverpool. It's good for United. Basically, this was the best case scenario for both teams. It was good for Liverpool because they got the confidence back. Now, as they go towards this final stretch of games in the Premier League, they have confidence up that they can do this and that they can finish in the top 4 again. for United, you said this best. They needed the humbling. They got the humbling. They got the bad loss out of the way now. That way they can progress down the line in the season. They're still in Europa League. They're still in the FA Cup. They're playing in too many tournaments, and you can tell right now that it's affecting them. So, with that being said, it's good for both teams moving forward. I think now more than ever, our top four is going to be Arsenal, City, United, and Liverpool.
Anything else?
It's a real shame because I was sitting down yesterday with you. I was sitting down yesterday with the other Manchester United fan that we were with. Oh boy, I felt for you guys, but at the same time, would you have rather got blown out, or would you rather have lost 2-1 with like most lost scoring in like the 96th minute of stoppage time?
I think I would have taken the previous scenario, the most last scoring last minute. Because it's so predictable. It's so De Gea like predictable. So there.
Floor's yours.
So for me, there's several things to say about this whole entire Manchester United loss. The first one is, yes, it's the humbling that Manchester United needed. Not to this level, but it's a humbling is a humbling, and it is what it is. The only thing that I have to say about this Manchester United team right now is there were several factors missing yesterday at Anfield for this Manchester United squad. Number one, the formation. I remember saying to Chris when the match started that the 4-2-3-1 formation was not ideal against a Liverpool side that plays more in a 4-4-2 contention system, more like 4-3-3. And I said we should be playing a level-headed 4-3-3 formation because that's how we can plan on the attack. Yes.
Can confirm. Continue.
That was the very first thing I said. I said I don't like this formation at all. I don't like that we are going up with a single striker when it's a really good defense. It's not like Liverpool is playing a 3-4-3 formation. It's not like Liverpool is playing a 3-5-2 formation. It's not like Liverpool is going with two center backs and a winger. It's not like that. It's a good defensive system. Left back, right back, two defensive mids, and that's it. And then you have a really good core of center defensive mids as well. So in reality, it was more like a 5-3-2 formation that we were playing without it being a 5-3-2 formation that we were playing against. United should have aligned to a 4-3-3 formation to begin with. The second part to this was there was no belief, there was no energy, there was no attitude, there was no fire in these players, nothing. That first half was probably the most sluggish half I've seen United play probably in the past 2 years. Overall, I've seen them play sluggish, I've seen them play sloppy, but in the end they kind of put their energy back together. And after the first half, they were just non-existent. Careless mistakes happening in the defensive end, careless mistakes happening goalie wise, careless mistakes happening in the middle, not a lot of passing happening, not a lot of opening up the field, not a lot of that. This game was just predicted to go downhill for United right off the bat. They were not themselves at all. Attitudes were completely off. I think the factor of being in 3 to 4 different tournaments is finally catching up to them. And with so many matches being back to back within 1 week, it kind of catches on to them because our bench is not as strong as we think it is. The options are not as deep as some other teams have it. Now, not to say that because of restlessness or because of stamina levels not being there, that United shouldn't have played a good game. United should have. They had every single keys available to be playing a good game. Anthony could have been utilized in the second half rather than on the first half. and as a starting lineup feature. Jadon Sancho should have started, considering that we needed creativity up front, and we didn't have it. The only one that was creating chances for us, believe it or not, is the striker that we signed in January to be a striker, but now is playing that number 10 role, basically because Bruno Fernandes is too busy being everywhere on the field, but not where he needs to be, unfortunately. I like the fact that he's a go-getter. I like the fact that he is trying hard to be like, I can play every position wherever you need it because I'm the captain, and if you need me, I'm going to be there. I like that. It's a good mentality, but it's not the role that he's been asked to fulfill, unfortunately. So Val Veghorst is basically a number 10, creating chances for us. Our discipline was nowhere to be found. We had 8 offsides, maybe 9, I think, overall, statistically wise. So the discipline was not there. Out of those 8 to 9 chances offside, 5 of those were opportunities to be scoring. 5 of those were clear opportunities where it was 1-on-1 striker versus goalie. So realistically, out of those 5 chances, maybe 2 or 3 would have gone in. That in itself is already 7-2. Nevertheless, the other 2 goals that we should have had and that we should have scored, and we didn't. So that brings it down to 7-4, less humiliating score. Last but not least, the one thing that really drove me absolutely off the wall was Bruno Fernandes' attitude after he had asked to be subbed off and it didn't happen. Number one, you're the captain on the field. And if Ten Hag is saying, you must stay on the field because I need you to stay on the field, that's it. End of conversation. You're not running the team. You're not paying everybody else's wages. You're not the owner of the team. You're still not even the identity of the team because we're still trying to identify who's going to be our captain moving forward. So realistically, you are as much of another player on the field as everybody else who is around you. And as soon as your attitude drops, it contaminates everybody else around you. And if you noticed, as a Manchester United fan, that the minute that he did that, everybody else's discipline levels dropped. Everybody else was making careless mistakes. Everybody else was running a lot less. Everybody else was putting a lot less effort. It's like, guys, okay, you're losing 7-0, but that doesn't mean that the game has finished yet. However, 7-0 was, whether there's 10 minutes, a minute left, or 30 seconds left, you still got to run. You got to complete your runs. And a lot of these players were not doing so. I get it. It's a very disgusting score to deal with. I completely get that it's a humiliating score, especially when you are a top figure in the league right now and when you are World Cup winners and high-profile names. I get that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that you don't continue runs and continue your play. A lot of these plays were left behind because of attitude and lack of discipline. It was, as Ten Hag put it best after at the post-match interview, it was literally unprofessional. And it's disgusting to see that behavior happening because now you have to, not only does the coach now have to reignite the fire, saying like, okay, that was our worst loss, let's move forward. But now this coach has to be even more disciplined, create more fear in that locker room when realistically he doesn't need to. Because by creating that, some of those relationships could be broken. And now you have a realistic issue. So it's a matter of, for me, it was a lack of teammateship, it was a lack of discipline, and it was a lack of performance. And that's why we got the shellacking that we did. The other part that I personally didn't like is the unprofessionalism on the other side as well. Because I know if the scores had been reversed, the behavior that we would have displayed probably wouldn't have been as badly in discipline as it was on the other end. Because before match interviews, Klopp was seriously underplaying how Ten Hag has been doing his job. Everybody else in the league has been like, yeah, he's done a great job, but we're still our team and we got to go out there and compete. In reality, for Klopp, it was more like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, give United a goal sticker? And while I get it, that might be the right response. Dude, you are a high-profile coach in the world. If not the second best, maybe the best coach in the world. Dude, have a little bit of class. Because if it was Conte, Mourinho, Pep, saying that same shit about him, he'd be livid. He'd be going off the record like crazy. So that's number one. Have the class that you want others to deliver to you towards others. Whether they deserve it or not, class is class, respect is respect. The second part to that was the behavior amongst the players. It was, you and I both said it towards like the end of the match. This is gonna get ugly. Like they're both like enticing each other. This is just ugly. And while I get it, it's a rivalry, and like some rivalries get ugly, it didn't need to get that ugly. Like you already won, move on. Like we already lost, move on, carry yourselves to the locker room, finish your shit, go home, do whatever the hell you need to do to unwind out of this loss or unwind out of this win, but don't portray that shit on the field. Your fans are there. And the last part that actually like really actually aggravated the piss out of me was the fact that Rafa Varane had to stand as the very last United player to leave on field before entering the locker room, because all of our players refused to go over to the away side where there were United fans still waiting for us at the end of the game. They refused to go over there and at least thank them or clap them. Like, where the hell is the respect towards the fans from a United standpoint? You already lost, so your United fans are already pissed off. What about the people that just fucking paid so much money to go to this game, be humiliated because now they're wearing the opposite team's jersey at a field that's probably one of the most prolific fields in the whole entire world? You can't even walk over there, at least make a last ditch effort to be like, hey, thank you for showing up. I'm sorry that we delivered this shit. Instead, you wait until the next day to deliver the same quote that every other player delivered on Twitter. It's just lack of class. So at the end of the day, I really hope that Ten Hag delivers a speech that ignites a fire under their ass, because they absolutely deserve it at this point. They needed the humbling. So from a United standpoint, I'm thankful that it came down to Liverpool at this stage, because the rest of our schedule right now gives us an opportunity to bounce back and still maybe be top two, or maybe even have a run at the title of the Premier League. Maybe. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying maybe, because the other two teams have a little bit of a tougher schedule ahead than we do. So that could be an opportunity. From a Manchester United standpoint here, it's a huge opportunity, which, by the way, another thank you to Liverpool, for us to reset and stop being so overconfident about the same starting 11 and maybe create some new ways of playing, because it's 3/4 of the way in the season. We've been playing almost the same exact way for the last however many matches that we've been undefeated for, which, okay, things work, but to a certain extent, some things also need to change. And this is an opportunity for change. And last but not least, one thing that us fans need to do is, the minute that there is an issue like this happen, immediately go to war and be like, why hasn't Ten Hag resigned? Or why is Bruno still the captain of the team? Like, those are not things that help the team at all from a United fan base. Instead, just reset the clock, move on, look at the rest of the schedule, look at the rest of the future ahead, because United is still in FA Cup contention, Europa League contention, and Premier League Cup contention. So at the end of the day, we have opportunity to 3 other pieces of silverware besides the Carabao Cup. Okay. Stop treating the team like one error and it's done. That is the toxic levels that do not help a team move forward. It happened to Arteta for 4 years straight. It's happening now to Pep Guardiola, that now like City's not delivering the results that they should be delivering because they're not first place. So now everyone's like, oh, okay, we won this, but why the fuck did we tie to them? Why the fuck did we tie to them when we have the better team? It's good to question, but you got to question to a certain level, because there's only so much you can see from the outside looking in until you're actually inside of the organization as to what's going on. Mourinho said it best after he left Manchester United. The best thing that he could have done for Manchester United was finish second in the Premier League after winning the Carabao and Europa League, because there was so much damage already inside the locker room that there was nothing else he could repair. For all you know, Ten Hag could possibly be in the same exact stance. And right now, by the way, we're still hoping that the club is sold. We still don't even know who the 3 candidates are going to be who could potentially buy out Manchester United. So, if anything, we have more drama now than we did before. And instead of pointing fingers and saying like that person shouldn't be in the club anymore, maybe we should try and help out and just move forward and look towards what's next rather than stick to what just happened. That's all I gotta say. Other than that, it was a great match to watch at first. It was disturbing afterwards because seeing those many goals and just seeing everyone else just not even care at all, like on the field, I'm just like, seriously, like we're down 4-0. Like, where is the effort? After the 4th goal, they were just like, whatever. If it went in, it went in. Yeah, I guess for Liverpool, by the way, I'm glad that Darwin Núñez finally delivered a performance that you Liverpool fans have been looking for. I'm glad that Cody Gakpo has finally delivered a performance that you guys have been looking for, which, by the way, ESPN tweeted out that Cody Gakpo now has 1 more goal over Anthony in 5 games less. Just to remind ESPN and everybody out there, Anthony is not a striker. Anthony is a right winger. Cody Gakpo is a striker, a gifted born striker. And that's what he was signed up for. So he should be scoring goals. I don't know why we're comparing 2 positions that don't even relate to one another. Now, if this was about Wout Weghorst versus Cody Gakpo, okay, you'd be in the right. I'd be like, yeah, we need a better striker than that. But you're not comparing apples to apples. That's to begin with. And honestly, I'm glad to have seen Roberto Firmino come to the field. I know that he is looking to leave the club at the end of this year. So it was great to see him out there. Great to see the way that he was received on the field by all the fans. Like, you could tell all the fans like love him and want him to stay, but unfortunately it's just not going to happen. I was happy to see Diogo Jota out there as well. I think, in fact, when he was coming on, I mentioned to Chris, I was like, oh shit, like Jota's coming on as well. Like, that's cool. It was good to see Harvey Elliott starting on the lineup. He deserves it. Curtis Jones is back on the field as well. So it's a good thing happening now at Liverpool. I've been mentioning this to Jones for about, I don't even know, about 5-7 weeks maybe now. You know, do not worry. You might be in 9th place, but there's a way to turn it around. This is the guy that you need to trust. And all season long, while Liverpool fans have been questioning why Jurgen Klopp's still in the field and the team, I've been saying Jurgen Klopp is the only guy you can trust right now because there's no other coach right now that can turn that team around. So good to see Liverpool turn it around. Good to see the 7-0 victory. I hope that the next rival with Bournemouth coming up, that gives them an opportunity to close down the gap between 6th and 5th place, that they can get to top 4, like I've been predicting all season long. And I hope that that things continue to turn around for Liverpool. They deserve it. They have the right squad, right mentality, right coach. They just need to now produce performances like this. Now they got the belief from the fan base. Now show us that you can deliver for the rest of the season, because you have an opportunity to deliver like this for the rest of the season.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what more you want me to say there.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not taking sides. I'm not taking anything here. We took a shellacking like never before. It's just, it's a neutral opinion. At this point, there's no way to take sides.
Yeah, no, I agree, man.
And I think you could agree. I mean, you signed Cody Gakpo to a blockbuster deal because signing Cody Gakpo was one of the bigger names that was floating around in the January transfer window for a lot of clubs. Arsenal was in the run, Manchester United was in the run, Chelsea was even trying to dip their toes in there, and then along came you guys out of nowhere. You guys got the deal done. Congratulations. Now he's finally starting to pay off what you guys pay him to do. Darwin Nunez all season long. At the beginning of the season, I mean, the dude missed like what 5 opportunities for goals, and you guys were calling for him like what a disaster signing that was.
The Liverpool
Um,
fans were, man. I've been waiting for him to get his footing in it, and it feels like he did.
and
So
I'm glad that he's finally there. I'm just saying now it's about consistency and drive, because oftentimes when some of these players deliver a performance like this, their egos get so high that they forget to deliver that performance. And I just hope it doesn't happen to either one of those two. They're young enough to create a big name for their additional profile right now in the biggest league in the world, because everybody's looking to join the Premier League. So deliver. It's up to you.
yeah. All right, we spent enough time on this. Why don't we dive into the slate of EPL games this week?
Yeah, let's do it. We got a decent slate here of games. So why
Could
don't
be
you
better.
yeah,
Could be better.
Could be a lot better. All of these matches are snoozers. But let's run down the list. Let's run us through
Yeah.
the list.
So let's do that. So we have, as of last week, I went 7-4, calling Manchester City and Chelsea's score correctly. Puts my record at 118 and 126.
7-5 because there were 12
excuse me.
matches.
Yep. Correct. Sorry. And Diego went 5-7. Calling also the Chelsea's 1-0 score right, which you and I both called that game from start to finish. Putting your record now 127 to 117.
Well, I called the Chelsea score correct, and I also called the earlier Liverpool score correct too, at 2-0 against Wolves.
Oh, you did. I missed that. That's
Yep.
my mistake. That's a my error right there. So I'll take full credit for that. That's mine. That's on me. That's on me there. All right. First game actually is a Liverpool game. Liverpool's at Bournemouth Saturday morning, bright and early. They just I don't know what to do here, Diego. They always do this to me. At this point in the season, we always play these types of teams at the middle or bottom of the table, and they just put us on at 7:30 in the morning.
Yep.
What do you think here?
I mean, this was Liverpool's biggest win earlier in the season. They lost to United. They gave United their first win of the season. And then immediately afterwards, they turned around and beat Bournemouth 9-0, I believe it was. The fourth game or the fifth game of the season.
They beat them. So they beat them 9-0, and it led to Scott Parker getting sacked.
Oh, correct. So, with the performance that they just gave to Manchester United and the level of mentality that there is right now in the team, a lot of new faces, not new faces, but new faces to the season, resurging themselves back to the availability spot. I don't see Bournemouth having a way out of this shellacking as well. So I'm going 5-0 Liverpool.
Jesus. I mean, listen, Bournemouth at home, they're a scrappy team.
I will say, and I'm sorry to cut you off, by the way. I will say they gave a run for their money to Arsenal, which, by the way, Arsenal fans don't gloat about a victory of 3-2 against the worst team in the Premier League. It's fucking Bournemouth. Come on, move on. You guys are better than that. But I'm just saying they gave a tough run to Arsenal, going 3-2. But I just think Liverpool right now, it's just
I want to say
on all cylinders.
The worst team in the Premier League. They're
not Southampton. They're not Southampton, but they're not that far from being Southampton either. So
I actually think because of how bad they killed United last week, I think this is going to be a much closer game. I think Bournemouth's going to keep it close. I think it's going to be the Arsenal script. It's going to be 1-1 in like the 86th minute, and Salah's going to find the back of the net. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. All right. Next one, we got Leeds hosting Brighton here.
Yeah. Brighton, by the way, like I predicted, was going to give a very tough game to West Ham. I believe I predicted 2-0 Brighton, but that was at the half.
4-0. Yeah.
It was 4-0. So I think Brighton's still in all cylinders. They're a great team, and they have a good program altogether. Build it. That's what you can say about Brighton. Leeds, on the other hand, they're still trying to find an identity. I'm not sure they're there yet. With that reason, I'm going 2-1 Brighton.
I mean, I don't know why I just clicked that. My finger was up that high. I wasn't trying to be. But would you say 2-1?
Yeah. Yep.
I actually think this is going to be a snooze fest. I don't think Brighton's going to be able to get anything done here. I think Leeds is going to play them very, very well. They're going to play them tough. I think this is going to be a 0-0 draw.
I hope you're right. For lead fans' sakes, I think a draw would be the better result, the most realistic result there.
All right, next we got Everton and Brentford.
Yeah, so the one thing to note about Brentford is that they are a phenomenal team when it comes to the top 6 teams of the table, but they're not a very good team when dealing with the bottom half of the table. And seeing how Everton is starting to perform, even though they're not fully there yet, and I feel bad for Sean Dietschy. I think they're gonna relegate this year. I actually think Everton can close down a victory here for their own good, and I'm going 1-0.
Look, you put together 2 good defensive teams here.
Yeah.
This is where I think if someone's going to win this game, it's going to be the first team to score. I don't think there's more than one goal in this game. However, I don't think there's going to be a goal in this game. I'm going to go again with another 0-0 draw.
Nothing. Man, you are delivering those this week.
I am correct. All right, next one we got is Leicester City hosting Chelsea.
It's Leicester City versus Chelsea. This has always been one of those matches that when you look at the calendar ahead, you're just like, those 2 teams are so level altogether that there's really not much of a difference. Even when Chelsea was flying in all colors against everybody with Tuchel, Leicester was always a pest to them. I think this is a 1-1 draw.
Listen, I like that. And this is Diego. You should know this more than anybody here. When I say what I'm going to say, I'm going to shock our fans when I say this. Ready for this?
You're going with a Leicester victory.
They're at home. Chelsea barely beat Leeds last week. I'm going with a Leicester City 2-1 victory.
2-1. Okay, I like it. And it's
Next
realistic too.
It is correct. Next one we have Tottenham and Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest, another team that is very much a pest to top 6 teams. Tottenham on the other side, just still trying to identify what it is that they're doing. Altogether, trying to survive being up on the top 4. They need to deliver here. This is a good opportunity to do so. So I'm going 3-2 Tottenham.
This is one of those ones that if they were playing at Nottingham Forest, I would take a draw here. But the fact that they're playing in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium makes me think a different type of way. I think Tottenham right now, they have
Tottenham
a big
is
matchup.
decent right now. Tottenham is decent.
They also have a big matchup this week
Yeah.
in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think Nottingham Forest is going to play them a little tight, a little tough. I'm going to go actually a squeak out Tottenham 2-1.
All right.
All right. Next game I have is Crystal Palace hosting Manchester City.
It's Crystal Palace. They always play very hard at Selhurst Park. It's Manchester City. They don't do very well playing at Selhurst Park. Both teams pretty good stamina wise. I see this game going 2-1 squeak out victory for Manchester City. Last minute goal by like Kevin De Bruyne or Phil Foden.
Wow. I think it's 1-0 going into later in the game, City, and Kevin De Bruyne throws an absolute missile down the pitch for Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland with the strike. I think City wins 2-0.
2-0. Okay.
Next game I have on the slate is Manchester United against Southampton.
Yeah, so Southampton always struggles at Old Trafford. This is an opportunity for Manchester United to pay homage to their fans and do it correctly. Uh, I'm not even gonna bring out the match that they have against the Spanish side earlier in the week, but I do think this is an opportunity to bounce back in the Premier League and send a message, say like, we're still here. Whatever happened last week is last week. We're still here. I'm going with a 4-0 victory for United.
I'm sorry. I said to myself when I was writing these down earlier today, I was like, they're gonna kill him, but there's no way that this kid's gonna write down 4-0. He's gonna say like 5 or 6. What did you just say?
4-0.
4-0 United. They Southampton's just not gonna be able to keep up.
But is it realistic or is it unrealistic?
No,
I
it's
just wanna
realistic.
know. I just wanna know.
No. The thing is, it's so realistic that the fact that you and I both immediately went to 4-0 is the best part. So that's why I'm laughing.
So I'm going 4-0
I'm not
United.
laughing because I think it's unrealistic. I'm laughing because you and I had the same mindset on the score.
Oh, okay. I was like,
That's the highest. So that's the highest scored game that you and I have ever agreed on.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Next one we have is West Ham and Aston Villa.
Well, for West Ham, you know, this is just bad because for West Ham after losing 4-0 against Brighton, having a team like Aston Villa come in to face them is rough, and I think this is David Moyes' last game of the season with West Ham United, going 2-1 Aston Villa.
You've been waiting for David Moyes to get fired, huh?
I'm not looking for him to get fired, but I think it is the end of his season there.
I think they save his season. I think they squeak out 1-0. I'm going West Ham at home.
I hope for David Moyes' sake that you're right.
All right, Fulham and Arsenal.
It's Fulham, a team again that nobody is talking about, nobody's paying attention. Very good team that could go toe to toe with Arsenal, and seeing what Bournemouth gave as a rundown to Arsenal, to the point that they had to squeak a last minute Hail Mary. I'm actually going a 2-2 draw, Fulham.
I like where your head's at. I'm also going draw, but I'm going 1-1. And with this, Arsenal is going to be, I believe, if it stays like this, they'll be at 64. City will be at 61. They'll be 3 points ahead with 10 games left. And that'll be the storyline. Fulham draws at Arsenal hit 2-2. Oh no, I'm sorry, 1-1. Sorry, 1-1. I mean, I have 1-1 written down. I had 2-2.
You like where my head's at, but you saying the same fucking thing.
Sorry. 1-1. I wrote down 1-1. I looked at your 2-2 briefly, but it's 1-1.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
All right, last game in the EPL slate, we got Newcastle hosting Wolves. I'll go first on this one. Newcastle losing a tough one to City last week. They bounced back at home against Wolves. Give me Newcastle 2-0.
All right. I unfortunately think otherwise. I think Wolves is a team full of surprises this season against a Newcastle team that is starting to show some inconsistencies towards the end of the season, which, by the way, I said that in one of the very first episodes of this season when Eddie Howe was appointed. I'm going 1-0 Wolves.
Wow, that's crazy to me. That's crazy
I hope that for the project that Newcastle has been delivering all season long, that they win. But it is the Eddie Howe project, and it has his signature in it. And Eddie Howe, with every project, he starts hot and just doesn't know how to finish. He's the Leicester City without being Leicester City.
Oh, wow. All right. That'll do for Premier League. Let's slide on over to the Champions League. Diego and I both sitting at 63 and 41.
That
There's
is hilarious, by the way.
What? They were both 63 and 41?
Yeah.
Yeah. there was no Champions League last week, so we're done. We're back in the swing of things here. First matchup: Chelsea hosting Dortmund. Dortmund up 1-0 in the aggregate right now. What are we thinking?
I'm going with Dortmund going through 2-1.
I have Dortmund going through as well, but I think their style of play and how they're going to play this, I don't think a ton of goals are going to get scored. I think the Jude Bellingham sneaks one in late. 1-0 Dortmund wins this matchup and moves on.
1-0 Dortmund. I like it.
All right, Benfica and Club of Bruges.
Yeah, Benfica's up 2-0 in the aggregate already. I think with it being at home, they can already punch their ticket through. Benfica's very tough to play at home, and I've said this every single season that they've been in the Champions League. I'm going 1-0 Benfica.
I'm actually going to 0-0 draw. I think Benfica is going to go defensive heavily. They're already up in the aggregate. You say 1-0 or 2-0?
I'd say 1-0.
I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here. I don't think any goals get scored. I just think Benfica just goes defensive hungry and tries to hold out Club Brugge. All right, Bayern and PSG.
It's not looking pretty for PSG. Neymar's already out for the season. That is a centric piece of their attack. Very hard to replace. Mbappe dealing with a few minor knocks here and there and performing okay, but not at full potential. Messi will have to deliver the performance of his lifetime against a Bayern Munich side that defensively is actually really, really, really good. So with that being said, I'm going 3-1 Bayern, and it's also at Alliance Arena. There's no way to beat them at Alliance Arena.
I think Bayern moves on as well. I think a little bit of a closer game. I'm going to go 2-1 Bayern. They move on with the aggregate of 3-1.
All right.
Last one, we have Tottenham and AC Milan.
So I like the Milan is winning 1-0 in the aggregate. However, I really think that they did themselves a disservice by only winning 1-0 at home when they had a Tottenham side that was weak, especially overseas. Coming into White Hart Lane at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is very difficult, especially for a lot of Italian sides. With that said, I unfortunately see an upset happening for AC Milan. I'm going 2-0 Tottenham.
Oh, wow. So I originally was going to go elaborate and say Tottenham wins 1-0. They go to penalty kicks, and then AC Milan moves on that way. But then I sat and thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Fuck that. Same result, same score. Tottenham 2-0. All right. Final topic we got for tonight is the Europa League.
Yes, sir.
So we got the first leg this week taking place on Thursday. However, usually we do game by game. This time we're gonna do things a little bit differently. So for starters,
very cocker. I'm sorry, but when we go back to this episode and we see this little clip, like that was just content. Anyways,
starting off, Diego, give me what you think is going to be your upset of the week in the Europa League.
In the Europa League, the upset of the week. Okay. I'm going to go with Arsenal losing against Sporting Lisbon in Lisbon. I actually think Lisbon is very tough to play at, no matter for who it is, whether it's a French team, an English team, or an Italian team. I'm seeing Sporting winning 2-1.
I hate your guts. Because literally here I was. I thought you were going to take, literally, I've been sitting here. I thought you were going to take SC Freiburg over Juventus the whole time. I've been sitting here mustering it all day long. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to get him. Sporting CP over Arsenal, baby.
So another potential upset that I do see is Sevilla struggling really, really hard against Fenerbahce. And I'm seeing them draw, actually.
All right. What do you think the biggest margin of victory is going to be this week, and who do you think is going to have it?
Leverkusen. They have a very good matchup against Ferencvaros. I'm going Leverkusen 4-1.
I am going to actually take FC Union Berlin over Union St. Gilles. Berlin was hot, man. They played a tough Ajax team, and they played them real well last week or 2 weeks ago. Excuse me. I'm gonna say Union Berlin wins 3-0. All right, and then I want you to give me what your best game of this slate is.
Best game of this slate is actually Roma versus Real Sociedad. I think those two teams are very. Roma and Real Sociedad are very level altogether. I actually see this a draw. It's 1-1 draw.
Fucking hate you. Teeing you off here for fucking the two things, and you just didn't take it. You just, Jones, what do you got down in your notes? Oh, I'm gonna say that first. Yeah, I got you. It's basically how I feel what happened, and you had no idea about what was going on either. That's the sad part. I think it's Roma Real Sociedad, like you said. They both same styles. It's gonna be tough either way. I'm actually gonna say, surprisingly, Shakhtar and Feyenoord are gonna be another good game for this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually I like that. I like that matchup a lot. I think Feyenoord, however, has a better offensive scheme of things. And I actually see Feyenoord moving through. They went 2-0 against Shakhtar.
We shall see. All right. That is going to do it for this episode of the Yellow Card Podcast. Make sure that you are following us on Twitter at Podcast Card. Make sure you are following us on TikTok at Yellow Card Pod.
Yep.
Make sure you're following us and our good friends over at Student Union Sports.
Hell yeah.
StudentUnionSports.com. Go check out all the articles that everybody are posting. Very, very well. Very, very entertaining, to say the least. I had a good read on there earlier today. With that being said,
you're gonna be putting out a bunch of content too on StudentUnionSports.com. So
I've been doing it, but
you are supporting the Yellow Card Podcast, make sure you support this really good writer over here to my left on your screen, probably to your right. But also continue to pay attention to us on Twitter. We've been hot about a story that now is starting to go it's starting to give us a little bit of fruitful hopefulness there, which was with Victor Osimhen from Napoli, potentially coming to the Premier League. And the one side that has been linked heavily to that is the one side that has continued to be sending scouts almost every single game because Ten Hag has been asking for it. I gave you the clue right there. Continue to follow us on Twitter at Podcast Card.
Dude, why'd you just say Arsenal's gonna get him, bro? Unreal.
Well, no, actually, we know that Todd Bailey's gonna pay for him and just recycle him afterwards, because that's what happened with Enzo Fernandez, Michaela Mudryk, and everybody else.
With that being said, Diego, DJ, Chris Jones signing off. We'll see you guys next week for another fantastic episode of the Yellow Card Podcast.
Yep.